You're holding your phone, reading something, and without deciding to, your hand drifts a little farther away. The words were blurry up close. So you move them back, and now they're sharp again. It's a tiny movement. You barely notice it. But if you're near 40, your body has started doing it on its own. You might laugh and say your arms are getting too short. But your arms haven't changed at all. Something deep inside your eye has, and it's been happening, quietly, since you were a child. Here's what most people believe. They think that one day, somewhere around 40, the eyes just start to fail, that it's random, that it's bad luck, that some people get it and some people don't. But the truth is stranger, and far more precise than that. What's happening to your eyes is one of the most predictable changes in the entire human body. It runs on a schedule that was set long before you were born. So what exactly is going on in there? To understand it, you have to understand one small, remarkable part of your eye, the lens. It sits just behind your pupil, clear and soft, about the size of a lentil. Its job is to bend light and bring it into focus on the back of your eye. But here's the beautiful part. Your lens can change its shape. When you look at something far away, it flattens. When you look at something close, it bulges and rounds out. This shape-shifting is called accommodation. It's the reason you can glance from a distant hill to the page in your hands, and both snap into focus in an instant. More than 200 years ago, a scientist named Thomas Young was the first to figure out how it worked. He proved that the eye focuses by physically changing the shape of the lens itself. Later, a physicist named Hermann von Helmholtz explained the mechanism in full. A tiny ring of muscle wraps around the lens. When that muscle tightens, the lens is allowed to spring into a rounder shape and near objects come into focus. Your eye is not a fixed camera. It's a living lens, reshaping itself thousands of times a day. So what goes wrong? Nothing goes wrong, exactly. The lens just does something no other part of your body does. It never stops growing. Think about your skin. Old cells flake off, new ones take their place. Your body is constantly clearing out the old. But the lens can't do that. It has no blood supply. It sheds nothing. Every cell it has ever made, it keeps. Forever. New layers grow on the outside, pressing the older layers inward, tighter and tighter, like the rings of a tree, like the layers of an onion. Year after year, decade after decade, the center of your lens grows denser and stiffer. And a stiff lens cannot change its shape as easily. So slowly, quietly, your eye begins to lose its ability to focus up close. Do you see what that means? The soft, springy lens you were born with is slowly turning into something hard. Now here is the part almost no one realizes. This did not begin at 40. It began when you were a small child. In the early 1900s, an eye doctor named Alexander Duane did something simple but brilliant. He measured the focusing power of thousands of eyes across every age, from children to the elderly. And when he plotted the results, a strange pattern appeared. The ability to focus up close doesn't fall off a cliff at 40. It declines in an almost perfectly straight line, starting in childhood. At 10 years old, you could focus on something just a few centimeters from your nose. By 20, that near point had already crept outward. By 30, further still. You never noticed, because there was so much focusing power to spare. But the line kept dropping year after year on schedule. And then, somewhere around 45, it finally crossed a threshold. The near point pushed out past comfortable reading distance. Suddenly, the menu was too close. The text on the bottle was too close. Your own phone was too close. So your arm reached out. To buy back the focus your lens could no longer provide. 40 isn't when your eyes started aging. 40 is simply the year you finally noticed a change that had been happening your whole life. This condition even has a name. Presbyopia. From the Greek, it means, roughly, old eye. And it comes for nearly everyone, Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't a disease. It isn't a personal failing. It isn't something you brought on yourself by staring at screens. It is one of the most universal experiences a human being can have. If you live long enough, your lens will stiffen. It happens to almost every set of eyes on Earth. Which raises a very strange question. If this happens to everyone, if it's so predictable, so universal, why hasn't evolution fixed it? Evolution solved so many impossible problems. It built the eye itself, one of the most extraordinary structures in all of nature. So why would it leave the lens to slowly turn to stone? Why not just keep it soft forever? The answer is one of the most unsettling ideas in all of biology. In the middle of the 20th century, a biologist named Peter Medawar proposed something he called the selection shadow. Here's the idea, in plain terms. Evolution can only shape you through the traits that affect whether you survive and have children. A gene that helps you as a baby or as a young adult gets passed on strongly because it helped you reproduce. But a gene that only causes trouble later in life, after your children are already born, is almost invisible to evolution. Selection simply can't see it. It falls into the shadow, and your eyes fall squarely into that shadow. For most of human history, people had their children young. By the time your lens stiffened enough to matter, you had usually already passed your genes to the next generation. So there was no pressure, none at all, to fix it. A stiffening lens didn't stop your ancestors from having children. It only affected them afterward. In the part of life, evolution stopped optimizing for. Your eyes were built to be sharp exactly long enough to get your genes into the future. And after that, they were left to age in peace. Isn't that a strange kind of freedom? So think about what your reading glasses actually mean. They are not a sign that something is broken. They are a sign that you have reached a stretch of life your distant ancestors rarely lived to see. Every person squinting at a restaurant menu, every parent holding a bedtime book at arm's length, every grandparent tilting their head to thread a needle. They are all quietly announcing the same thing. I have outlived the age my body was optimized for, and I'm still here. That blurry menu is not a defeat. It's a receipt for a long life. There's something almost tender about it when you think about it clearly. The lens grows because it protects what it holds. It keeps every cell never letting go. It is, in a way, a record of every single day you have ever seen light, every sunrise, every face, every page. All of it, layered inside that tiny clear disc behind your pupil, pressed together over the decades. Your eyes are not failing you. They are simply full of years, full of light, full of everything they have ever focused on. So the next time your hand drifts back and the words come into focus a little farther away than before, don't sigh, don't feel old. Just remember what that distance really is. You're holding your phone, reading something, and your hand drifts back a little farther than it used to. But now you know what that small movement means. It isn't your arms getting shorter. It isn't your body giving up. It's a lens that has kept every day you've ever lived, grown a little stronger, a little denser, a little more full. That small gap between your eyes and the page is the exact measure of how far you've come.